Hi guys, this is Shweta from Brilliant Brains. I'm the lead machine learning mentor over here. In today's video, we'll be looking at another Python automation project. In this project, we'll be working with Twitter again. So we will try to extract the trending hashtags on Twitter. We will be extracting 5 of them. If you want to alter this number, you can do that. How we will be looking in the code. Now, the name of the project is going to be Twitter hashtag extractor. Right? Now here, let's see if I have to do this thing manually, what steps I would have followed. Okay. For that, let me share the screen with you guys. So let's go to Google. Now, because I have to do something on Twitter, the first thing I'll have to do is go and reach Twitter, right? So let's search Twitter hashtag extractor. Okay. Not extractor actually. Twitter hashtag trending. Okay, so this particular place seems to be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, this is the place where I have to go from here. I have to go to the trending tab. Now here you can see all the trending hashtags for today are present. So what you have to do, you have to go on Google, you have to reach to this place. Once reach here, we can try to extract these hashtags from our code, right? So let me just note down all the steps so that we can implement the same steps or repeat or replicate the same steps to our code. Okay, so for that, let me just note down the steps. The first step is gonna be open Google. I'm just writing in shorthand. Second step is gonna be open Twitter page. Third step and the final step is gonna be extract the hashtags. Okay. So in these three steps, we'll be able to do the task in hand. So without wasting any other time, let's just move to the code. For coding, I'm going to use Sublime. Okay, you can use any other code editor if you wish to. Now, let me create a new file from there. Okay. First thing I have to do, I have to save this file. Okay. So let me just name it something. Let's write explore.py. You can give the first name as whatever you want, but the extension has to be py because it is going to be a Python file. Now, the first step was to open Google. For that, we'll be using Selenium. Selenium is a Python automation library which helps us in writing some commands or instructions through which Python can access any web page or web element present on the website. Okay, so let me first of all import the library from Selenium import website. So this is the module I need to use. Okay. Now, second thing which we have to do is we have to use a Chrome driver. What is Chrome driver? It is a web driver which will help in establishing a connection with Google Chrome. See, Selenium is going to give us some commands so that we can access some web information and all. Fine. Now, to access this information, we have to go to the internet, and that can be done using a web driver. Because I'm going to use Chrome, Google Chrome, so I'm going to use Chrome driver. If you want to use Firefox, Opera, or any other search engine, you will have to use a different web driver for it. So let me just start with opening Google. So webdriver.chrome, and here goes Chrome driver. Chrome driver is the one I was talking about. Because this will be opening a new tab in Google, so I have to name it something. So let's just name it browser. You can use any other name. This name is like a reference to the page. Now, whatever you want to do on the page, just like the page will be referenced as browser in the code. Okay. Now let me just run this and see if this particular code runs the way I want it to run. I mean, if it opens Google or not. Yeah. So this is opening Google. So this is doing the task we want it to do. Now, the second task was to open the Twitter page from where I need to collect the hashtags, right? For that, I'll just copy this particular link because I have to come on this link, right? So to write the same, to open the same link, I have to write browser.get. What is browser.get? .get is the function. Whatever URL you give over here, it will open the same URL on our page, on our newly opened Google tab. So let me just run this and see if the same page is opening or not. Now, if you're wondering how did I install or downloaded Selenium, or how did I install or downloaded Chrome driver, you can watch the other video of mine, which I'll be linking in the description, where I'll be talking about all the downloads and installations of the dependencies. Okay. Now here you can see the page is opening. Now my next task is to find how these hashtags are stored in the page. Because see, all the pages which we use, I mean, which we see on the internet has the page source code. The source code mostly written in HTML. So the HTML source code actually tells you how all the elements on the page is stored in the code. So in order to access some element through Selenium, you have to see how the same element is stored in the code. So for that, you have to see the page source. For that, you have to right click and then click on inspect. So here, the code opening at the right of your screen is the HTML code for this whole page. Okay, let me zoom in a bit so that we can see it properly and expand it. Okay. Now I want to see how this particular hashtag or how all the other hashtags are stored. Let's first try to extract the first hashtag and then we will move on to the other hashtags. Okay. So for that, you can click on this particular button over here. Okay. After the clicking, this particular button will become blue in color. Now, whatever element you will go on, the element will be highlighted and the corresponding code of that element, the corresponding HTML code will be highlighted on the right. So let's say if I want to see how this logo of Twitter is stored, I'll just go on this one. And you can see this is a path element with some particular details and all. Okay. Now, let's try to see how this particular hashtag was stored. Okay. So let's just come here. Yeah. So this is actually a span element. Let's see how all the hashtags are stored first of all. Okay, I mean, I want to see the mother element which is holding all the hashtags together. So let me just see. This seems to be the mother element. See, when I came to this element, all the hashtags got highlighted. That means this element is holding all the hashtags. So this is a div element with area label as timeline explorer, some class values as well. Now inside this div element, there is another div element. See, inside this div element, there is this another div element which is having a test ID as cell in a div. Okay, let's keep it aside because something is highlighted which we are not able to see. Then the second similar div element is highlighting the India trends, and then this third div element is highlighting my first trending. Okay, so basically through my code, I will have to come to this div element. From there, I will have to come to this div element. From there, I have to come to the third div element. Now, why I'm mentioning this because this is important to understand before writing the code to find the element. Now, let's see what is happening inside this div element. So, inside this div element, there is another div element. Okay. Inside this other div element, there is another, this particular div element. Inside this div element, there is this div element. Inside this div element, there is this div element again. Inside that div element, another div element, and there are, if you see, there are one and two development. The first development is highlighting the top bar where number one music trending, etc., is stored. Now, I am just in the second development because it is holding the hashtag. So let's open this development. Inside this development, there is a span. Inside that span, there is another span. And this particular hashtag is stored as the text of this final span. So I will have to start from all the top, the div element which is holding all the hashtags, and then I will have to come to this span element. Okay. For that, let's just try to do one thing. Let me note it down somewhere else. I forget while writing in the code. Now, by the way, if you're wondering how are we going to access any element, we have to write the X path of the element in our code, in our Python code. Now, what is X path? X path is like an address of the element. In the HTML file, the address of this element is called the X path. So you will have to say, let's say if you want to find this element, you have to write the X path of this div element so that your code can find it. Now, how do you write X path? To find a single element, you have to write two slash marks, then the name of the element, then square bracket, then at the rate, and then the name of the attribute. What are the attributes? These red values inside the elements are the attributes. Then equal the value of the attribute. Why you have to mention the attribute? See, if you just say that I want to find a div element, you just know there are thousands, there might be thousands of div elements present in your page. So only mentioning that I want a div element is not going to fulfill what you're trying to do. So you have to mention some characteristic of this div element. Now, the characteristics are nothing but the attribute. For example, this div element is holding, is having an area level of this timeline explore. It is also having a class name of so and so. So this particular information is specific to div element, and we are going to use this information to tell our code that I have to find a div element whose area level is timeline colon explore. Okay, so you have to put the attribute name and then the value of the attribute, and you have to close it. This happens if I'm going to find a single element. Okay. So let's just write the x part of this particular div element because we have to start from here. So we'll have to write div, then square bracket, at the rate, we'll be using the area label value. So area label equal to something. I'm not writing it because this is a very big name, and bracket close. Let me remove all the other thing apart from this. Just 1 second. Yeah, removed. Now, now what I have to do, I don't have I have to move ahead from here, right? I cannot stop here. Inside this div element, I have to go to another div element, right? So let's just expand this one. Inside this, there is another div. So if you have to enter into the element which whose expert have written, you have to give a slash again over here and then write the element you want to enter into. I want to enter into this div, I'll be writing div. Okay. Then what next I have to do? I have to enter this div as well. Now the first, second, third. The third div is what I'm interested in. So I'll have to write div 3. Okay, because here there are a lot of divs inside this div. So I have to write div and the number of div I'm interested in. So I'm interested in div 3. Okay. Then from there where I have to go, let's just enter this div 3. Inside this particular div 3, I have to enter one div, then another div, then another div. So three divs are there. Let's first write this. One div, another div, and another div. Okay, fine. Next, inside the third div, inside this third div, I have got another div, and inside this, I have to go to the second div. So I will be writing slash div slash div 2. Here I have to mention 2 because I'm going to the second div. Then I'm writing here, okay? Slash inside the second div, I have to go to, this is the second div. Inside this, I have to go to the span and the other span. So I have to write span slash span. And this is gonna be the X part of this particular span element whose text is holding my desired hashtag. Okay, so let's just move back to the code and let's just write the same X part in our code. Let's just try to find an element with the same X part. Okay, so just give me 1 second. I just move this whole thing a bit. Okay, let me just write here only. Yeah. So let's just write the X path first of all. I've kept this written part so that I can copy the X path from there. So div and then at the rate and then area label equal to something. I'll just fill up this something value later on. Let me first fill all the things. Then I have to write div, then div 3. Okay. Div and then I have to write div 3. Then I have to write div 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So div, 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 and div. Okay, then I have to write div 2, then I have to write span for twice. Okay, now this will go as a text value. Okay, now let me just clear this particular thing from here, from the screen which I have written, and let's just try to see what was the area label value. So I'll just come here, over here. Yeah. And I'll just copy this whole thing so that I don't make any mistake while typing it. Okay. So let's just put this over there. Okay. So this is the X path of my element. So I'll have to find this element with the X path, right? So for that, I have to use another function. And the function is gonna be browser dot find element by X path. And here I have to pass the X path like this. So whatever this element is, I'm interested in the text of the element, right? So how can you access the text once this element is found? Dot text. Dot text will return only the text of the element. Okay. And let's just hold this text somewhere. Let's write X. Okay? And let's just try to print this X so that we can see whatever we were trying to do, if we were able to do that or not. So let me just run this and see what is happening. Twitter is opening. Okay. It is giving me an error now. What is the error? The error is no such element exception. Now there can be two reasons of the error. One reason can be that I have written a wrong expert. The second reason can be before the page is loaded, my program tries to find the element. So what happens when a new page is loaded? First of all, the page source is loaded. Okay. So it's sometimes because of poor connection or some delay, some latency, the page loading takes some extra seconds. So if your page has not been loaded completely, but your program tries to find some element, it throws an error. Okay? Because the element is not present right now. So we can use time.sleep here. What time.sleep does, time.sleep holds the program at that line for some given amount of time. Now here I've mentioned two, that means it will be holding the program at that time for 2 seconds. Let me give actually 5 seconds. Okay? Let's see if the code runs with this. So basically what will happen, once the program will come at the line 6, it will stay there for 5 seconds and then it will come to the line 7. Okay, let me just try running this. If it still gives me some error, then there might be some problem with the extra. Okay, it has opened. Now let's come here and see. Okay, it is giving me India for video world as the hashtag. So let's see. As you can see, this is the first hashtag trending hashtag which has appeared right now. So it is giving us the first hashtag like this. Okay. Now I'm not interested in the first hashtag only, right? I'm interested in top 5 hashtags. So let's see how the other 4 hashtags are stored. Just give me a second. Yeah. So if you just see here, we are seeing another hashtag at the first location because this page is quite old, right? We opened it, I guess, 10 minutes back. Now for the second hashtag, if you will notice here, so let me just close this one as well. So if you just notice here, there are different div elements. See, once I move to a different div element, some other parts of the code has been highlighted. Here, 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 here. So all the hashtags have a div element. Inside this div element, the story is the same, that you have to come to the fourth div element from there. And from there inside that you have to come to the second div element. From there, the second span element is holding the value. Okay. Now, what has to be changed if instead, like this particular number, 3 was for the first hashtag. Now, if you want to access any other hashtags, the second hashtag is stored at the fourth location. The third hashtag is stored at the fifth location. Fourth hashtag is stored at the sixth location. And fifth hashtag is stored in the seventh location. Okay. Now, our task is to store or to extract the hashtag from the top 5 hashtags, right? So I have to use the same expert, but I have to change this particular value from 3 to 7, one after the other, and extract the text from it. Okay. Now, when you do it, when you have to do any task repeatedly, we use loop. So here we will be using a for loop. Okay. Now we will try to use a for loop in such a way that I takes value from 3 to 7. I mean 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. And instead of this index directly, I will be putting the I. So let's see how can we do this. Now, yeah. So I have to run a for loop for I in range from where I want to start the I value 3, from where I have to end the I value 7. Now, because I have to end I value at 7, I have to give 7 plus 1. That is 8. You can directly give 8 over here. Because the range works in this way, whatever last value you give, it will access the value 1 before the one which is given. Okay. So, for this thing, I will have to change my X path, right? Let me first pick the indentation. Just give me 1 second. So if you mess up with the indentation in Python, your whole code is messed up. Now here, I have to pass I instead of this. But you see, when I'm passing I, it is being passed as a string, not as a variable or an iterator. So for that, I have to use formatted string. And instead of passing I directly, I have to enclose these curly brackets. Now this I will be working as our uh, iterator, which we are using for the for loop. Okay. Now let's just see what happens. And for every time this value is printed, let me just, okay, let just be in this way only. So let's just see how this code runs. So what I have done, I'm just opening Google. After that, opening the page where all the hashtags are stored. Then I'm running a loop for 5 times. If you see, for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for 5 values. And every time I'm creating another X path for different hashtags. Then I'm finding the hashtag with the given function. And then I'm using the dot text attribute to extract the text value. And then I'm just printing the value. So let me just run this and see if the code works perfect with the page or not. So let's just see what happens here. This page has appeared. Now in some seconds, all the values should be printed. And yes, if you see India for video work, crazy deals on iPhone, Hindi Divas, troll song, and Spotify K-pop on. These are the 5 hashtags which are trending right now. Let's just compare if these are the right values or not. So let me just, yeah, and move it a bit. So first one is India for video work, second one is crazy deals on iPhone, third one is Hindi Divas, fourth one is troll song, and fifth one is Spotify K-pop song. Right now, if you want to extract only the first one, you have to just the way we extracted the top one, you have to do the same way. If you want to extract the 10 values, so for 10 values, you have to go up to 30. So by changing this value, you can move to any other place. Okay. So this is all. This is how you can extract trending hashtags on Twitter. Now, if you have any doubts or anything related to the project, you can comment down below or you can reach out to us on Quora. We will be happy to answer all your questions on your doubts. I hope you try this project on so that you can build a better understanding of Python and on Python automation. Okay. So thank you so much for today. Let's meet on another video. Thank you.